I was asked to do a video that kind of summarizes my journey with the harmonica, I guess. When I started, my mentors and so forth. Maybe the first song that I learned or tried to learn. Still trying to learn. But I started playing when I was 10 years old. Now that would have been, I was born in 48, so that'd been 58. And what started all that is every weekend my family, my dad, my grandparent, my grandmother, granddad, and my uncles, they'd get together on the weekend and they'd play music. I had three uncles that played the harmonica. My granddad played the harmonica and the fiddle, my grandmother the piano, and one uncle that twanged the Jew's harp. Some people call it a jaw harp, but it's a Jew's harp. Actually, it's a Jew's trump. But anyway, Jew's harp. And of course, being a kid, I wanted to be part of stuff, rather than just sitting and listening. And I started bugging my dad for a harmonica. And finally, when I was 10, he gave me one of his, a used one. It was a Hohner old standby. It was a pre-war one, B flat. He'd had it for a long time. And anyway, so I started learning, and of course I just blew on it, like any kid does. But I had a good ear, and a song that I had heard them play, which was called "Over the Waves," I liked it, and I heard that, and I kept trying to get that on the harmonica, and it was that's the way I would play it. And I just keep going over and over that. And another one that kind of stuck with me was an old song called "You Are My Sunshine." It's the same way. And that's how I would do it. And of course I kept trying those two. And my dad said I needed to get to play one note. And he said I'd put my tongue, cover the notes, except for one. And of course I fooled around with that. That was kind of difficult to finally got to where I could hit one note. And I was playing one day, I was playing on "You Are My Sunshine." My other uncle is the youngest of the uncles. He was talking to me and he said, just lift your tongue up and set it down. And he said, get your chords that way. And you do that in a rhythm. And he kind of showed me how that was. And so I started practicing that. And that's about the way it was. It just didn't come naturally to you. You got to practice on it. But that was the very first song that I was able to play and get the rhythm chording. And it was a very basic rhythm chording. So and it went from there. And then after that, it was just learning songs and learning different rhythms to put, like a waltz rhythm and train rhythm and all that stuff. And my very oldest uncle, he knew a lot of songs, and he always. I know I was wanting to learn "You Are My Sweetheart," "Let Me Call You Sweetheart," and I asked him to play that for me because I wanted to hear what he was doing. And he started out, and I said, "That isn't the song I want." He said, "Yes, it is. That's "You Are My Sunshine." Or no, not "You Are My Sunshine. Let Me Call You Sweetheart." And what he was doing, he was playing, what do they call that? It's got a, dadgummit, it's got a name. It's kind of an introduction to the song, but it has a refrain. he was playing the refrain. I'd never heard that before on "Let Me Call You Sweetheart." So he knew a lot of the songs, older songs, and I started learning from him, learned from my granddad. I know I'd kind of forgot about Over the Waves, and I'd heard my granddad playing a song, a waltz called Peekaboo Waltz, and that's the one that it struck me, and I wanted to learn that one. And so I had to learn that waltz rhythm, and that goes. You have to keep that. I forget what rhythm that is. I'm not musically educated, so it's a 3/2 or 4/3, something like 3/4 time. That's what it's called, 3/4 time. And so I had to learn that, and he showed me a song, "Big Bunch of Daisies," which was one to practice that on. So I started practicing that, and one of the songs my granddad told me he always played when he played house dance. He said the very first song he played was a song called Wagner. My dad played Wagner, my uncle, all of them played Wagner, and that's all they called it was Wagner. Later on in my years, uh, I figured, well, maybe that was kind of a variation of Tennessee Wagner, but it's really not. I don't know if it's something they made up or they heard from my granddad. Heard from, see, my granddad learned from his granddad. Now, my granddad's dad did not play, but his granddad did. My granddad learned from his granddad. Now, his granddad was in the Civil War. Now, I'm not saying that he had a harmonica in the Civil War. He probably did, uh, but I know my granddad learned from him, and learned a lot of the songs from him. And then my granddad in turn taught my dad and my uncles, and then all of them in turn taught me. My brother also plays, by the way. He don't play it a lot like I do, but he plays and he still play. But that Wagner, that gave me a lot of trouble, and but I did learn it, and it took a lot of practice, and so I'm going to play that all the way through. Uh, it's a good dance tune. Like I say, my dad played it. My dad, there's two of them. My dad said Wagner, he could play Wagner and Uncle Joe in his sleep because there's one old fella, and I forget what his name was, but when he called the dance, he'd just keep calling and wouldn't end it. And of course, my dad or my granddad, or my uncle, whoever's playing the house dance, had to keep playing. The last one of those I remember, I was really little. The last house dance I remember. Anyway, I'll play a little bit of a song called Wagner. I've got a low F. I learned that, of course, on a B flat. Let me get a B flat, so I can play it in the with the key that I learned it in. That's B flat. So that's Wagner, and a lot of people, and Uncle Joe. So those are the songs that my dad said he'd play in his sleep while the caller was calling the dance. But anyway, that is the story of how I got started on the harmonica and how I play. And over the years, of course, the main thing was learning songs. And of course, I change rhythms a lot of times. People ask, well, how do you know what rhythm to play? It kind of comes natural to you after you start playing. It's kind of like my granddad. One thing my granddad told me, he says, if you cannot dance to it or tap your foot to it, don't play it. So I try to play songs where either you can dance to it or you can tap your foot to it. I try not to play songs that are, I don't know, kind of offbeat. And of course, any song that you play, the most important thing is your timing. And I have a metronome in my foot, and so my timing has been pretty good. Not perfect, but it's been pretty good. And my ear is still good. I don't hear as good as I did, but it's still good. I can pick up songs, and that's how I learn. I learn strictly by ear. I don't know what hole I'm playing or blowing or drawing in. Uh, Nothing. I don't know the names of the notes. I just go by the sound, and it doesn't take me long to learn a song and I learn it in little bits. If I hear a song, most of the old songs are what they call and response, but you learn the first part of it, get that down, and then learn the second part of it. And so that's my story. And I'm still playing, and I'll play just as long as I can. Most of you that's followed me know that a couple of years ago I had I had to have open heart surgery, and I had fluid building on my right lung. I couldn't play, didn't have any air to play. And then all of a sudden I came down with bacterial pneumonia. I was in the hospital and also had a bacterial infection in my blood. I was in the hospital for over a week, then on a constant 24/7 IV for 6 weeks. So it kind of stuff like that. And but that's what happens when you get older. Uh, Things happen. But I'm back to, I'm not 100%, but I'm back to where I can play some now. And I'm going to keep playing. I'll keep playing till I can't anymore. So uh, that's my story. And I thank you for listening if you lasted through all this stuff. And by the way, all of you have a Merry Christmas and a great New Year. Don't get drunk and fall down.